Hey there, welcome back to the table. So, I apparently did have time to record. It was not a 2 day delay. So, I'm having enough fun. Let's dive in and see how this goes. And still learning and progressing, but yeah, we're definitely moving in a good direction here. Okay, so for this particular turn, we have just need to do something off camera here. All right. So we have the spin zone, which means that black goes first. And just a reminder, corporate and the church are the only two that are eligible this turn. So corporate's going to go first, and yeah. So let's dive in. Always follow the steps. Is the church going to try to steal first? That is a great question. We're going to roll 3 dice. And he has 4 of them, and all 3 of them passed. Now remember, in order for him to go first, he actually has to spend 3 points. Even though these 2 aren't eligible, he still has to spend 3 points to get ahead of black. So the answer is yes, because all 3 passed. So then 3 of these go away, and now orange is going first, which is a big shocker, because I was actually banking on the corporation going first in that situation. I guess what's the chances of 3 dice being less than a 4? It's definitely within the realm of possibility. It just happened. So now we're moving to orange. And I am really grateful that they put that check right here at the top to remind you. Okay, so the church is going. Is the current event critical and effective? The current event for the church is a no bueno. They have no interest in that whatsoever. So we're skipping that. Then it's acting faction is the church. And the answer is yes. So they're going to check for critical asset. Now they only have 1 left. So that means that they're only going to draw 1 card from the deck. So let's see what it is. It is an event. So this is crazy. I never expected that to happen. But let's see what they do here. It says remove up to 2 security or MG troops, each from 4 spaces on Mars without support. Removing is effective. So I can tell you that without even looking at it, but just to help you to understand what I'm thinking here, is the effective events chart for the reclaimers. If it removes enemy from the map, it's considered effective. And that's exactly what this is going to do. Now, it says remove from 4 spaces. I don't know if there actually is 4 spaces, but we're gonna find out. So the only thing that I have as a question mark is, I know they want to do the event, but then which does that count as they took an event action up there? So that means that black can't do this event? That's the part I'm confused about. So I'm going to pause real quick and look that up, and let's see where the rules take us. The rules do not address this situation. However, in the back of the bot rulebook, it does go through a play example, and it shows that the church is going first, and it does suggest that the church checks to see if it's going to do this event, and then it has to draw cards to see if it'll do that event. And I think common sense just tells you it's an event. That's what's on the title of the card. So that means that it's going to count as taking the event from their perspective. They just don't do the event that's on the card, which is fine. So what were we missing out on? Yeah, that would have been good for the corporation, but it's not, it's not overwhelming. So What are they doing? They're going to remove up to 2 security or MG troops, each from 4 spaces on Mars without support. So we got to apply a little bit of insight here, and so they're going to remove or replace. That's this far right column. So they want to go where there's a CR base with no hidden rebel. That doesn't exist. There's 3 spots for bases here, up there. There's hidden rebels on each one. Okay, I'm going to just read this to you. A vulnerable enemy base. That's not the case either. Next is no CR control. That's a great question. They do have control here, there. They have control in all 3. So that doesn't help. Most bases, well, that would be the wilderness. But the problem is this is about removing troops, and there's no troops in the wilderness. So we're going to keep going. Actually, we probably need to stop. Oh, never mind. It doesn't have to be. So far, it's been places that have. Let me back up. The third criteria here is no CR control. That doesn't mean it has to be a area that CR is at. So yes, CR does have control of the 3 areas that they're physically in, but this event is about removing the enemy. So they can remove them from a space that they're not physically in. So they're going to prioritize anywhere that has no CR control. So that's going to be our first criteria that we can finally get a hit for. And it's any spaces. That includes the labyrinth. So this is going to get interesting. So next would be most bases. What does that mean? Enemy bases? It could. It could. So like this one has a base, right? So there's at least one. And here they actually have a presence. So that actually would count as, in my mind, as a good candidate. And then there's one up here. And then there's one here. So 1, 2, 3, there's 4 locations. This event affects 4 locations. So I don't think I need to go through and weed out anymore. It was prioritizing where there was the most bases. So like, for example, they could have picked this location and gotten rid of 2, but there's no bases at that location. And so their priority bubble says most bases. So I think that's what causes those 4 to rise above to the top. And then of course, no CR control is true in all 4 of these places. So we got our 4, and then it says, remove up to 2 security or MG troops. So now we got the issue of if they were mixed troops, so if there was like half of one and half of the other, what would they do? And I think that is addressed somewhere here in the rule book. So they got removing friendly pieces. Doesn't say. Well, we don't have that situation here, but it's just one of those things that I always feel like I should know. So 2 of these are removed. Does remove mean killed? It doesn't say. All right, let me check. Because things go in the casualty box for the corporation. So are those considered casualties if you remove? So there are keywords. I just need to find them. To be honest, I can't find it in the rule book. Not that we need it for this particular action. The best I was able to find was a reference to, these are the peace priorities. So the pieces at the top are a higher priority for the AI. So if they're going to remove, they're going to remove in this order. So for example, they want to remove bases, top priority, then satellites, then the Earth troops, but then it's security and MG troops. And it does say read top down, left to right. So that means security would be higher priority than the Martian government. So that's how I conclude this. The rules don't say, but I do think that they're at least implied. And again, it's common sense. So especially in the face of having no other direction, the peace priorities, it makes sense. The peace priorities is usually for placing pieces, but I think it could also be used for removing them. So you're going to remove 2 from here. Oh, yeah. Do they go to the casualties? That's the question. I'm going to assume yes, they do. Although the word remove is different than... So there's something we can do to verify that as well. They have, for example, there's an attack action. So each die result is equal to or less than the number of rebels present. It says remove 1 EG troop or 2 other enemy forces. So the attack action removes. And so remove would move them to casualties. And I believe the rulebook does address casualties within its... Yeah, it says corporations and EarthGov forces, we're looking right here, when removed from the board, usually go to the casualties box. And it's been my experience so far that they'll say not to, but anyways, those 2 are done. And then we have these 2. And those don't go to a casualty box, because we don't have to worry about that. Corporation has 2 more here. And then MG here. So both corporation and the Martian government have bases that are vulnerable. Vulnerable meaning that there's no more troops defending them. What's interesting is it's a raging storm. So you're not supposed to, actually, you're not able to select that. So they got lucky. But that means we have to find another location. 3 of the 4 were found. Now we got to keep going. So, all right. So what's the next priority? After most bases, MG is a player. Most support. So the most support, see, again, that drives me nuts. So I guess because it says support and opposition, most support would mean there. And that makes sense. And then they would move to security from here, because this is a case where it is mixed. This would be the 4th place because it has active support. And that's, well, actually, there's 2 places with active support. There's this one and that one up there. So we got a tie again. All right, what's next? Going down the list, most CR rebels. Okay, there's no CR rebels up there. There's 2 here. So yes, these 2 security get removed. All right, that wasn't super painful, but yes, we got an event. It was effective. Actually, I think that was quite effective. And now it is the corporation's turn. So the event was taken. So let's see what they do. So is the next event critical for the acting faction? It's got a check mark. No, it's got a slash. My apologies. It's critical for blue. So that's really important for us. So the answer is no. So we're not going to do anything for them there. Did the first eligible choose event? Yes. So they're going to do an op plus SA. So that means they're going to go here, and then these will go there and there. So I'm just taking advantage of my energy while I'm leaning across the table. So op plus SA for the corpse. Just keep going. And then we get to here. Corp L. 2d6 less than available security. There is 0 available security, so I'm not even going to bother rolling. So the answer is no. So it says draw another card. So the next one, which was on top, says any non-terraforming corp bases in deserts. The answer is no. Well, hold on. In deserts. We have a terraforming here. We have a terraforming there. The answer is no. They only had 2 bases, and they're both terraforming. So it says draw another card. So we shall do exactly that. Now we're to Corp H. At least 2 populated spaces with Corp base. Corp forces greater than MG forces and no damage. So there's 1. Corp forces have to be greater than MG. So that one has no forces at all. So it's not greater than MG. They're actually tied at 0. My goodness. So it's a no. And now we're drawing again. The next one is Corp K. Any available Corp bases? Yes. Assault could remove an enemy base or 2 more rebels in 1 space. I don't know what assault is. So obviously it's an attack. I get that much. See, that's a little cheesy because we might as well be doing the flowcharts, because this is what the flowcharts used to do. Is, you know, check to see if this could happen, and then if that's the case, then it was always this big if-then-else statement. It says any space with corp forces and enemy forces. I mean, I have a few. It's not that many. So I'm going to say no. They could not remove an enemy base. And here's why. These guys are alone. You can't activate this space anyways. That one up there is a base with no troops. But inside of the labyrinth there are some security forces, but they're not going to be able to remove a base. They have a base there. Over here is 1 security force, but there's no base to remove. So the answer is no. They can't remove an enemy base. And there is 2 or more rebels in 1 space, though. That would be the case here in Genzhou. So I'm going to say yes. So let's do this. So it says assault to remove rebel bases, which we can't do. There are none. So the assault action says in each space they may activate any spec ops and remove 1 active enemy force per active coin unit. They don't even have spec ops on the board. So I'm going back to no. We're going to go back to no. So we're going to flip over. Any desert without corp bases and reachable by corp units. Yes. Using move priorities. EarthGov controller, move EG troops and using navigation beacons as needed. Oy, boy, boy. Okay. They are definitely, I don't know, these cards are a lot lazier than the Gandhi ones, I think. You're having to figure out a lot without just being told what to do, and then you use your bubble chart to figure it out. Okay, so move priorities is this. It's a big, long chart. There's select forces to keep in a region, then select forces to move to a destination. So, that's our dilemma here. The action is called a recon action. And you can see that here. You can enter deserts and reveal rebels there. Any destination desert, move corp units to destination desert from adjacent spaces and from any controlled spaceports. Activate one rebel for each corp unit and may remove one security to available to place a corp base. So we got to talk about the spaceports here. Yeah. So let me find it in a rule book and let's go over that. Let me just say that answering this question was the most convoluted, crazy thing ever. But I think I understand how this works, and let me take you through my my thought process. The first one is, in the regular rulebook, there's the spaceport. It's not a section called move or movement, it's spaceport. So if you go here, it says that the rightmost green square is a spaceport, indicating fast travel to and from this labyrinth is possible during secure recon and march operations. A spaceport may not be used if there's a damage market covering it. Phobos is a labyrinth. So all this is trying to say is that you can move between spaceports, and Phobos here has a spaceport on it. So you can move your troops from Phobos to anywhere that has a spaceport. It's considered adjacent. So that's step one. That was part of our question, right? Is how do I get my troops off of Phobos? Then there's the next one. And this rule, by the way, is only written here. Nowhere else but here. The Earth Government playmat has drop pods. Move a satellite from orbit to any labyrinth, even with damage or a raging storm, to move EarthGov troops there directly from Phobos. Now, technically, you don't need to bring down the satellite if the spaceport works. Because that's the other thing. If you're the controller, you get to move Earth government forces as if they were your own. So then, you get into, okay, well, what about, with the NPC? How does that work? Well, the NPC does control the Earth government forces in this case. And the raid action, if you get into what the raid action itself is, where do I have it hidden? Here. Or recon, I meant to say. Recon says you can move corp units to destination deserts. And then it says and from any controlled spaceports. Activate one rebel for each corp unit and may remove one security to a corp base, blah, blah, blah. May house or repair. And then it says EG controller navigation beacons. So what the heck is that? Well, then you get back to the Earth government thing, and there's a navigation beacon, which move a satellite from orbit to a desert, right? And then to activate 2 additional rebels. So that's a separate thing, right? You can bring a satellite down to activate rebels that are hidden in a particular desert. So it just helps you to, like, you know, they got thermal scopes or whatever, and they can find these rebels. So that was actually the clue that told me that there's rules on the Earth government playmat that is nowhere else. Now, these other places do say that, so for example, there's a satellite section here that says that it will support and enhance secure recon and assault, right? So I go here and I'm like, okay, well, it enhances them, but how? So then I go to the player aid, or this thing, and it says per the EG controller navigation beacons. And I'm like, well, what is that? Well, I mean, that's when you finally get the smarts to realize you got to look at your playmat. And so the playmat has rules on it that, like I said, nowhere else. So, long story short, you can move your troops instantly as long as there's a space shuttle from Phobos. Actually, you can go to Phobos as well. You can go either way. If you're going to the desert, though, that's going to be restricted to whether or not the action lets you do that. It does say move corp to unit destination deserts from adjacent spaces and from any controlled spaceports, which does mean that you can go from the desert straight to that spaceport. So, from the spaceport straight to that desert. So you can go from Phobos to wherever you need to go. And then you also saw that the way you get your troops out is that they're connected, and then, you know, you can also bring in your EarthGov forces as well. So anyways, all that is to say that that's step 1, okay? We now know how to get our troops from there to somewhere on the map. Now we got the harder part. Within the bot book, there's a move priorities table section that gets into step A, step B. I mean, it's like a 15-step process. But what it really is trying to tell us to do, and this is not a simple thing it's telling us to do, I at least understand what it's asking us to do. Sorry, I'm fixing some components that got messed up here. Let me put this down so I can lift up the camera. There's a move priorities section, and they want you to start at the top and just go down. From the top, item by item, executing each one, because they're going to select which forces need to be kept. And then you're going to select which forces to move. And so you have to go all in, and this is going to identify what forces will not move. And then this is going to identify which forces will move. And then, of course, all of that is after using this table to identify where they want to attack. Because there's an attack option here. But I think the recon may... Where does the card say? They're doing recon using move priorities. So move priorities is here. So I think we would just start here and go through this massive list to determine their order. This is going to take us all day. This is worse than enemy action Ardennes. But I do appreciate how difficult this is, though. You have not infinite, but you have quite a few dozen places you can go to. And, you know, where do you go from? How do you go to? How do you control that? I mean, there is a lot going on. So anyways, let's, so let's remind ourselves, we're gonna do recon using move priorities. This does not use the AN. The EarthGov controller, moving EG troops and using navigation beacons as needed. And they are the controller, so they will use the EG troops. And then these place base and house in one destination, that's part of the action itself, and we'll do that later. But we got to figure out where they're going to move from and to, and then, go from there. Oh boy. Okay, so let's start at the top. Select a destination using the space selection priorities table. That's what it says. There is no space destination priorities table. Well, I mean, there is, but see, it's not highlighted for orange is what I meant to say. So select an origin space not already selected as a destination. So I think we got to figure out the destination because there is oh, I'm sorry, we're not doing orange, we're doing corporation. Okay. Corporation does have, this is the space selection priorities table, and we need to select a destination right here, recon destination, right there. Perfect. That's what we're looking for. Okay, we're cooking with butter now. All right, so is there a rebel at a corp base? So first check, there's a base here, no, but there is there, because there's a corp base here in whatever that town is called, that labyrinth. So the answer is yes, and I think we found our first destination. We want to go to that labyrinth, it looks like. So then we go over here. We got our destination, so we're going to call that A. Now they give you this A, which is really meant to be overflow, but you could use this as a marker. And so we can put that marker on the city there, but let's just figure out what they want us to do here. Then it says select an origin space not already selected as a destination. So why would I... do I have to go through every single space and count it as an origin? Well, here's the good news for us. They have 2 troops here. They can't move because of the raging storm. They have 1 troop there, which I wouldn't want to move that anyways. So really there is only 1 origin space. It's Phobos. So I think our logic got simplified, but this could have been nightmarish if they had troops everywhere. Let's apply Phobos and see how it goes. And then maybe it'll be, more transparent or easy to understand, because I don't currently understand this. So, I understand it, but it seems overly complicated. So anyways, let's go. Oh, I see. These are the steps to help you figure out the origin. Okay, I am feeling better now. I'm like, why are they not giving me any criteria? This is the criteria right here. Okay. Most movable forces not required to remain in origin per instructions below. And then select at random from remaining spaces. So again, we're going to go through these instructions here, but it's going to be Phobos, I'm pretty sure. So you need to keep sufficient forces to change no control. Europa over here... would, if they move their forces from Europa, the control would not change. So I guess it is technically in the realm of possibilities. Are the cubes greater than or equal to vulnerable enemies in the region? There are no enemies in Europa. So what we do is you would keep the cubes, is what they're trying to say. Is the origin is at support and has a corporate base. So Europa does not. It does have support. And so it's saying, but the and is not true. It's not both. Is the origin populated and has a core base? Nope. Keep cubes equal to the population. That just flat out says it. So that rules out Europa. because there's 2 population there, and there's only 1 cube. So they need to keep their cube. So let's just keep going. We know it's Phobos, but if church is a player, which it's not, keep 4 cubes in spaces with a corp base. So basically, we have a corporate base here, so even if we could move these, it's telling us not to. All right, it's clicking, folks. It's starting to click. It makes sense. Keep 1 hidden rebel. That's only if you have a rebel. Remember, the black ones only apply to us. Sorry. Keep cubes equal to population doesn't apply to corporation. So the Europa one is back on the menu, folks. But this one, yeah, Europa's back on the menu. And then you can see we're skipping all these. So there's only limited ones that have the black dots. Man, it was starting to make sense. But okay. So Europa is available because they have the shuttle. So they're connected instantly to there. So we could move that 1 cube from Europa. But let's determine what they're going to do here. So is the destination a desert? No. So here's the first one. Get 1 acting faction unit to destination. I don't know what acting means, but I can definitely... Oh, the faction that's actually taking the turn. Okay, yes, I can get 1 acting faction unit to the destination. Get acting faction units equal to hidden rebels. So I don't know if it's a priority thing. Get at least 1. This is get at least equal to the rebels. All right, so we have 4 rebels, and we're going to use Phobos, but we get at least 1, and then we're going to get 3 more. And we're going to bring the Spec Ops. So now they're at least equal. And is the destination wilderness? No. Destination is support, and has a corp base. That is true. Get MG forces greater than equal to corp force, get coin control. Okay? We already have coin control, so that's not an issue. And I got to pay attention to the black dots, because some of these we skip. Destination is populated and has a corp base. Yes, get corp forces greater than MG forces. So the MG forces there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The corp forces is 2, because we brought down the, technically, we brought down the Earth government. So here's 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 we have. I technically could have not brought down the Earth government forces. So then we keep going. Get 4 cubes to corp base. We're okay there. Destination has no corp base. See, here it says get security. Then get 1 Spec Ops to destination. Boom. And that's always there. So we did that. Get 1 Spec Ops. The whole get cubes thing means it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be theirs. So, yeah, I think we did it. Like, you could argue that all of them should move there, but I think it's trying to, show you the minimum that needs to move there, because you keep those other troops in Phobos and they might be needed somewhere else. So, okay, I think that makes sense. You could argue that maybe I should have chosen black cubes instead of white cubes or whatever, but I think that, that at least... And then here it says for step C, if there's coin control, go to step A and select a new destination. If there's no coin control, go to step B and select a new origin. origin. So the new destination thing, I think it's because there's multiple, when you do the recon action, I think you can go to multiple places. So it says, well, actually, I did it all wrong. Look at this, recon. Enter deserts. This is not, oh gosh. We gotta go to the desert. Oh, my apologies, folks. Okay. Sorry, I had to recompose. I'm more angry at myself. I'm not angry at the game. The game told me clearly what I needed to do. I just have to reverse a bunch of stuff. So, I mean, it's pretty easy. It's these three, I guess. And then we had 2 cubes here, so these, I think it was that situation right there. So, yeah, we're okay. But now I gotta find a destination. Jeez Louise. Okay. Using the bubble chart again. But this time the bubble chart has to include somewhere. So for recon, rebel at Corp base. The answer is no, rebel at Corp base, because so that's what threw us off. The very first bubble says rebel at Corp base, and so I was like, well, there's a corporate base there. It has to be desert. So the 2 desert bases do not have a rebel. Corp base was 0 to 3 cubes. There's actually, both of them qualify for that. So both of those are destinations. Okay. And since this can hit more than one destination, yes, both of them, this is going to happen. And let me make sure there's not a restriction here on recon. Yeah, it's any destination deserts. So we're going to start with this one first. And we already know what the origin is going to be, so we don't have to go through all that again. But for the destination, they want you to at least get 1 faction unit there. So that means 1 black cube, if we can. And then get units equal to hidden rebels, which isn't a concern. Since there's a base, they want us to get control, which we technically have already. But right down here, get 4 cubes to the corporate base. So that's top priority. They would like you to get a spec ops there if you can. And then if there's no corp base and there's room for 1, they want you to get at least 3 there. And that's specifically security. And if there's any damage, they want you to get 1. So, Raging Storm, you can't normally do things. However, per the rules, you can do this, and now you can. And so that means we can take 2 white cubes to make it so there's 4 in that region, and that satisfies that situation. I can't move security forces. It's only the Earth government forces that move with the satellite doing that trick. And just a reminder, that is the navigation beacons that I just used. I'm sorry, the drop pods. Move a satellite from orbit. Oh, it's to any labyrinth. Hold on. Yep, I can't do that. I can't do that. So this location is off limits. It's not a labyrinth. So that brings us to this one over here. That one's fair game. So they want us to bring down 4. And here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they want a minimum of 1 op security, and there you go. There's an op security there as well. And then later down it says Destination has no corp base. We do have a base. Yeah, we satisfied it. We have 4 cubes there. So now we have to look at a new destination. So now I'm going to go back to the... So we covered the 2 places that have bases. If the coin units is less than rebel forces where there's corporate forces. That doesn't exist anywhere. Is there a conversion center? No. A conversion center, by the way, is an upgraded orange base. There is not a conversion center. Next one is there a rebel base? And that answer is yes. So we have rebel bases here, there. So let's do it. Let's put a green here, there. I see 3 so far. I don't know why I put this here. I meant to put this 1, 2, 3. Oh, this was from a previous turn. Okay, so there's rebel bases in this desert, and that desert. So those 3 are next for destinations. So, again, we start here at the top. I know there's a glare. Okay, get 1 acting faction unit to the destination, minimum. And then get acting faction units equal to hidden rebels is the next priority. And so let's do that. But which one do we do first, right? So that's the next priority. After the rebel base, fewest rebel forces gets top priority. So fewest rebel forces would be that one with a 2. So they're telling us to get forces equal. So that would be 2, like that. All right. And then if we keep going, it says get coin control is the next priority. So to do that, they would need 2 more. And I'll explain why. So see, the orange troops is 1, 2, 3. So to get coin control, they need 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that took control away from orange and gave it to coin. All right, so that's done. And then it just says, if it has any damage, get 1 security to the destination. So they're going to put 1 security there. You could argue that they would do that instead of the white cube. So let's try to be efficient, right? And there's no corp base, but there's room for 1. So get 3 security there. So that would mean take 2 of these away and add 2 security. All right. So we're still got coin control, but now we're positioning ourselves to make a base. So the next one is this one. It has 4. And there's only 4 cubes left. So we would add all 4. That at least equals the rebels, but it's not enough to take control. All right. So I believe, well, actually, we got 1 more. This guy here could go there. So we got to go back to the action. So move corp units to destination deserts from adjacent spaces and from any controlled spaceports. So Europa has a controlled spaceport. So that means we could take 1 more cube from here and put it there. That's still not enough to take control though, because he has 2 bases. And that's just enough to counteract 1. So I'm going to leave the markers there for a second. But and technically we have a marker up here as well, because we went up there. So the good news is they at least reinforced their base. You know, remember the one event killed everything. But we're not done. So now the recon moves to After you move the corp units, activate 1 rebel for each corp unit, 1 for 2 in the wilderness, and may remove 1 security to available to place a corp base. Then may house or repair in 1 destination. Okay, I know that's a little bit of a mouthful, but it actually sort of makes more sense than the other stuff. So right here it says place a base in all destinations with no corp base. So this is like trumping that action, because that action says, I'm sorry, you can place a base anywhere. This is saying to do it only if there's no corp base. Okay, makes total sense. And then the other one is house in 1 destination with a corp base using place population for the priority. All right, so here's the step. Let's read it one more time. Activate 1 rebel for each corp unit. We're not in the wilderness. So for every corp unit, we're going to activate 1 rebel. And remember, the Earth governing forces count as a corp unit. So basically, we successfully exposed every one of these. And we did the same over here. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2, and may remove 1 security to available to place a corporate base. Right, so they said that we would definitely do that. So we're going to remove 1 security, because remember the destination priority was to make sure 1 security was in each location. So now you're seeing why. However, there's no room for a base on this one. So that's not happening. For this one, they're not doing it because they already have a corporate base. I don't know why they wouldn't do another one though, but it specifically says place base in all destinations with no corp base. They already have a corp base, so I guess they're not placing another one. I sure would have if I were the player. Here, we do remove 1, and then we get to put out a base there like so. All right, and then we get to do house or repair in 1 destination. And then this says house in 1 destination with a corporate base using place population. Now, the population is already there. So we're going to take this 1 available population, and we're not going to put house here because that's opposition. The house is going to go here. It's neutral, but they at least get the house. But see, it's damaged, so they can't house. They have to repair. Transfer a population marker from displaced to a space without damage and with room for growth. Repair. Remove 1 security to available and remove a population marker from the displaced to remove a damage marker. Yeah, they're repairing. Have to. So, I mean, they technically can house here, but this is not going to help MG. So it says to use the place priority or place population priority. So I'm going to go through the bubble sheet, and I'm pretty sure most corp forces, labyrinth, most population, fewest rebels. So yeah, it would have been I'm going to make the executive decision that we're going to repair the damage. So what that means is this goes away because this damage goes away and then the population is back. That's how that works. So there's at least a population there, even though there's no actual support or opposition. Oh boy. All of this for one turn. Okay, so that was the operation. Now we got to do the special activity. They want to do public relations. So public relations says repair or house and gain profits. Ah, I see. This is where they want to do repair using place population. And then house in one space with a corp base using place population. So this is up to 2 spaces with coin control and security. Repair any number of times, gaining 2 profit for each damage removed, then may house in one selected space. Here's the problem. There's no displaced population. So you can't repair. Or house. Right here, look. House. Transfer a population marker from displaced population. Repair. Remove one security to available and remove a population marker from displaced population. Can't do it. So they're done. If anything, I would choose a different special activity because when you do the recon, you could have done raid. And raid would have worked fantastic. I don't know why raid's not even an option. Oh, it is an option. It is an option right here. Oh boy. It's a good thing I mentioned that right here. B, raid. So we can't do A. There's no population that's displaced. But we can do B, raid using remove to remove rebel forces. Okay. Boy, I'm feeling so much better that it's doing what I expect it to do. Okay, so remove or replace says rebel at corporate base. So we couldn't place a base at this one. That one has no rebels, so the only spot is the orange spot over there. So that's what we're going to do, and then I'm going to read what raid says. It says move in, so it's up to 2 spaces you can raid. Move in up to 2 hidden spec ops from adjacent spaces, then may activate 1 hidden spec ops to remove 1 EG troop or any 2 other forces okay. So the EG would be Earth Government Force or any 2 other forces. Okay, so this is the part that got tricky. You need to have, you can't use security troops. You have to use spec ops. And we had one. One spec op was here, and we could have just as easily moved him there. It's just that the priority for destination was the one with the base. And so it said to leave 1 spec ops there. But the spec ops doesn't do anything there. It does do something here. So I'm going to move it back because I think we got to do what makes sense. I mean, why would they skip a special action? This allows them to do a special action. So what it does is you just basically, you flip this over and then it kills 2 other units. So it says to remove 1 EG troop or any 2 other forces. EG to casualties, bases last. So these are the 2 forces. And then we have to set EG to minus if there's any coin pieces removed, but that's not the case here. Raid does require hidden spec ops to strike. Now, it doesn't specify that these have to be visible. They are in this case, but I would think that that does need to be true And I bet it's written somewhere else instead of the actual action. So, again, we get out the rule book. And it's some of the terminology in the beginning. For example, these are hidden. So rebels and spec ops are either hidden or active. Always set up and place new rebels on their hidden state. If an action requires you to activate a rebel, flip it. You know what? It doesn't say. It just says remove, so that means you can remove the hidden ones too. So I guess that's that. Oh, I know why you could remove them. We flipped them. That was part of the original action. We did recon, which revealed them, and then this removed them. Yes, that makes total sense. Sorry about that. That was like 30 minutes ago when we did that. Yeah. As far as the card goes, we are done. So thank goodness to that, right? Whew. That was a long, long turn. So we're at the end. So that means the next card comes out. That cord is getting in my way here. And then this one gets revealed. And you can see there's a 3. And it's called the Red Dahlia. So let's see. Activate all RD rebels. The red actually has a slash, meaning they don't want to do that. Oh, activate means you flip them over. RD may free ambush in any number of labyrinths, then must activate all RD rebels in any labyrinths. Interesting. So, yeah, they don't want to do this one. In fact, red and orange don't like this one. The other two are indifferent. So that's the next one. And before I forget, we're going to move up 3. 1, 2, 3. And for the current card, red goes first. But I'm going to end the video here. And it's still a slog, folks. But it's because, the first time you encounter any of these mechanics, it's just that move action was insane. There was like 4 different spots on the player mat, in the rule book, in the non-player rule book. You had to bring all that together to figure out, how does this work? Once you figure it out, I'm not feeling like it makes sense. It's just that the figuring it out part is, GMT adds all these player aids and things to help you, but yet I feel like I need more, at least initially. And I know there's a tutorial, and somebody's going to say, why didn't you do the tutorial first? The tutorial doesn't cover this stuff. Sorry, it doesn't. It shows you how to do a move, but it doesn't explain the decision making and where in the rulebook you got that from. All it does is move you through motions. But last thing, I do have an inordinate number of viewers, I guess, for this. So if you're new to the Jeff channel, just understand I never ask for a like or subscribe, but I do ask that you be kind. So whoever did the lip smacking comment, I laughed at it, but I don't, it doesn't bode in my, if you keep that up, you're gone. I just don't accommodate that. And so I did laugh, but, I'm going to laugh while I block you from my channel. So just understand that. But I'm also not a tyrant, so I'm okay with people saying whatever. But don't be a pest, is I guess what I'm trying to say is if you make repeated comments, then it's done. Once is fine. I also I'm just encouraging everybody that if you see something wrong, rules-wise, that's the discussion I would like to have. And, be kind there as well, because we're still learning, all of us. And I think it just makes this a better video series. So anyways, that's all I have to say about that. And, I apologize if it's sidetracking, but there's just, there's a level of chaos that's okay, and then there's a level of chaos that's okay, it's going too far. So, funny comment, and I am going to note, okay, fine. I don't know if I do that in all my videos, but apparently it annoys one person. There was somebody, by the way, funny story, somebody like 3 years ago was outraged because I used to go. So I did that while I was thinking. So it's like a poker thing, right? You give your tells. So I'm thinking really hard and I'm going, it was totally subconscious. And all I'm doing is I'm just clicking my tongue against my mouth. I'm doing that. And this person was just enraged, absolutely enraged. I'm going to just, say this one thing, because of the lip smacking comment and even, that person 3 years ago. I didn't ask any of you to come here. So, think of it this way. I'm welcoming you to my table. So you're in my home playing this game with me, and we're learning it together, and we're going to grab some beer and pizzas, and we're going to read the rule books together and figure this out. That's how you need to view this. I'm not some schmuck who's trying to come up with a video to entertain you. That is somebody else. That is not me. And I have never been that person that's here to entertain you. You're joining me at the table, and that's it. So if you're at somebody's house as a guest, would you be enraged with them? Would you tell them that they're, would you talk to them the way that you're talking here? That's what I just challenge everybody to try to achieve. And as long as you achieve that, we're all good. Because, every one of us has, quirks, like you're chewing with your mouth open is the one that I always remember with my grandma, right? You're chewing with your mouth open. I mean, there's always things that annoy people. Like, why does chewing with your mouth open annoy you, Grandma? I mean, it's just chewing. But she was very annoyed by it. It was not good etiquette, in her mind. And so all I'm getting at is let's have fun, people. Let's not lose your minds or anything like that. So with that said, 1 hour to get through one turn, but this was brutal with the movement. But now that we got movement out of our way, I think I can handle the next one a lot better. But yes, this is definitely a game you need a lot of caffeine for. So I'm going to stop rambling. Thanks for watching. As always, stay awesome. Even you people with the lip smacking comments, you weren't awesome for that one brief period of time, but stay awesome otherwise.